Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. In with me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Tensor's Transformation.
A mystical transformation that gives you a bunch of stuff.
Well, all right, yeah, let's get into it. What does it give you?
For a 6th level spell slot, it takes concentration 10 minutes, takes an action, you cast it yourself. It requires a few hairs from a bull.
Okay.
You endow yourself with endurance and martial prowess fueled by magics. Until the spell ends, you can't cast spells. Bummer.
Yeah.
You get the following benefits. You get 50 temp HP. You get advantage on attack rolls that you make with simple and martial weapons. When you hit with weapon attack, you do 2d12 extra force damage. You get all weapon armor proficiencies, including shields. You get proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws. You get extra attack. Ignore that if you already have extra attack. And then after the spell ends, you make a DC 15 constitution saving throw or get a level of exhaustion. So.
All right. Have some drawbacks here that I'm not in love with.
Yep.
I'm a wizard, and I can't cast spells.
Yeah. So what I find to be really a bummer is the poor fighters that are going to get outshone by this sometimes. And there are going to be some days where you roll up to the table and you're like, oh man, I'm so excited. I got an 11th level fighter. We're doing some cool things. I just got my 3rd attack. We're popping off. And then your wizard's going to be like, I'm going to Tensor's Transformation. I'm going to make 2 greatsword attacks for 46 plus 40, 12 plus 8 each. And then your fighter's going to go, I don't do half of that damage and cry themselves to sleep. Which is sad. This is like, if you're tired of being a wizard for the day and you're like, I don't have the mental capacity to do this, I want to turn my brain off. For a 6th level spell slot, you can change your class to fighter momentarily.
Yeah, for 10 minutes tops.
Yeah, you change them for like a fight, maybe 2. You're probably gonna get hit a bunch, so it's gonna take concentration off of this. So you probably want like War Mage or Warcaster and stuff to like maintain your concentration a little bit better. It helps that you get advantage on all attack rolls. So like you pick up a great sword and you start killing things. It doesn't help that you do need already a good modifier for that to really matter. The 2d12 force damage is like kind of making up for what's probably a shitty strength or a dex. You probably have a decent dex because like it's just always good to have one for your ACs and stuff. So if you're sitting on a 14 dex, take a rapier and do enough with this. All in all, though, it just I don't like the spell that it exists. I don't think the spell does anything that's good for anyone, and I wish it wasn't here.
I don't feel that way, but it's I don't know. It's like we talked about with Tavern Brawler. It's for me, it's just kind of a silly thing you break out once in a while. Look, I was a wizard. Now I'm a buff dude swinging swords and stuff. But yeah, I think it's kind of silly.
I think it's a little bit silly. I think there's gonna be some people that really like the Gish aspect of this, Gish being like the hybrid caster fighter character archetype. And this just says you're only the fighter half of it right now. And it does so in a way that is potentially more powerful than what some other characters in the party are doing, and that I find to be kind of lame. I think like you put this on like an abjurer that has a bunch of setup prep done on them already, where you're maybe like sitting with some temporary HP or something. It's really hard for me to think this spell can be that fun to use, only because all of your subclass features that care about casting spells, which is most of them, because that's the whole shtick of the wizard class, no longer work. And you're basically just saying, my entire build prior to this, I don't care about. My entire build after this, I don't care about. I'm just going to be a fighter real quick. And you're like, the annoying bit is you're like a moderately competent one as well. Like, you just get a bunch of the base class attributes and a bunch of temporary hit points, extra attack. Like, there are going to be some rangers genuinely out of the player's handbook that can't outperform this ever. And that's really a bummer. Because multi-attack with 2d12 force damage means like you can throw some offhand light weapons here, and you're just like, yeah, all right, I will attack with a short sword, attack with a short sword, attack with a short sword for 60-12 force damage plus the short sword damage, which is 3d6 plus mods, and you're putting out good chunks of damage every round with attacks that come with a bunch of temporary HP, and all of them are made with advantage. And whenever you crit, you're doing 40-12 damage, which you're critting more often because you're getting advantage on all the attacks. I don't know. It comes together to me to be like, this is a perfectly serviceable build for a handful of characters at lower power tables. And that's going to make other characters at those power tables be like, I didn't think that was what this character was allowed to do that. Why is all of a sudden my only shtick entirely obsolete because the wizard has a 6th level spell slot? I think that's kind of stupid.
I don't
I don't
think
think we
it's
necessarily need
entirely obsolete. I mean, this is not something you're doing all the time.
it. It can be though, right? If you're into that upper tier of play, this is a thing you can bust out every other encounter, and you're just like, half the time he's better than me, the other half the time he's definitely better than me because he's a wizard.
Yeah, but I mean, are you going to be breaking this out every other encounter? This is I mean,
The character,
this is a 6th level spell. You've got other options.
yes, but I think the characters that really like if you're new to the game and want to play the Gish character, and this is your first time playing the game ever, and you're playing the wizard, and you are like, wow, I can't really use the longsword the way I wanted to this whole game. And then you pick up Tens's Transformation that can satisfy that fantasy finally, where you're able to be the hybrid character all of a sudden. Now you have the kind of person that wanted to play this build this whole time leading up to this point, that has the ability to, that spontaneously makes a lot of other player characters and classes, again, that are in the new player bucket feel inexperienced. And what really kills it for me is outside of specifically the new player character table, like you just said, no one's casting this. You have way better things to be doing than becoming a worse character, right? Like you've got 6th level spell slots at your disposal. You don't want to turn off your 5th level and lower slots for this. Like this is a spell that doesn't go on any sheet in a way that is, I find particularly, at least I would expect to find to be particularly fun. I know if I'm playing a little upper tier wizard, why would I ever cast this? I could be a blade singer with a way better build if I'm going for min-maxy character Gish archetype.
Well, there you go. That's what I was going to bring up. If you want to be the Gish, then you've surely been doing Gish things up to the point where you're casting 6th level spells, which I would hope you're doing that.
I think some
and that would
players
make this spell even less useful than
yes,
if you've already
agree.
got competence at fighting.
And again, that's competence, I think, is the important word there. A lot of new players aren't going to be competent. They're not going to have the full range of experiences. They're not going to play the game before. They're not going to know what to look for. They're not going to know what Gish means. They're not going to know. They just know that they like the little magic duelist archetype with the swords they saw in an anime or they saw in some adventure movies sometime. And they're going to be like, okay, great. I'm going to try and play that at Dungeons & Dragons. What's in the player's handbook? Well, I can be one of these wizard classes. Okay, that's close. I guess Necromancer or Abjurer seems like cool. I'll try those, and then I'll use my sword like an unconventional wizard. And they won't have the breadth of understanding and knowledge that is asked of them to build those higher builds. They're not going to have delved into Reddit, delved onto the forums of Giant Playground and stuff to find those builds. And that's then the only instance where this spell crops up, is whenever you've got the new player that's, a year and a half into their game, gets 6th level, or even like maybe 6 months into their game, gets their 6th level spell slots, and it's like, oh my god, finally, I can pick this new thing that I just got out of the book that our DM just got. It's perfect for me. And now the really shitty ranger out of the PHB is like, I don't know why I'm here anymore. He's just me twice. He's just better me whenever he's not Tensor transformed, and better me whenever he is Tensor transformed. And one of them, it just looks exactly what I'm doing, but better. I don't get it. And I think if that's the only use case for it, it shouldn't exist.
You mentioned Reddit. You mentioned Giant in the Playground.
I did.
You didn't mention the Caverns and Creatures website that you've been writing for over a year.
The internet as a whole.
Yes.
Yes. More realistically, I would have found this information if I was an avid reader of the Caverns and Creatures, regular spell reviews talking about opinions on why you should or shouldn't take these things. And if they found tons of transformation through that, which they have a very high likelihood of, hopefully my words have steered them away from it and have taught them that it is not good for them nor their friends to take this spell because it's toxic and dumb.
Yeah. I don't hate it like you do, but one thing I noticed though was your proficiency with all armor. But this is concentration spell up to 10 minutes. I mean, you're going to eat most of that putting on a suit of armor.
Yeah, donning armor takes a while. So those words basically don't matter. The armor part that couldn't make any meaningful difference whatsoever. You're very likely to be like, yeah, just carry a shield and a greatsword on us, and I'll have mage armor on, and then everything's fine.
I can just imagine you're in a fight, you casting the spell, and then you 5 minutes into putting your armor on, you get hit, lose your concentration. now you got to take it all off. Oh.
Yep, that's yeah, don't don heavy armor in this. Don't just use your mage armor still. Just keep doing that. That's how you're supposed to do it. Bob, that makes me hate the spell even more, because I want you to consider that like they had to make a deliberate choice to include the armor proficiency. Like they were like, we know that they're not going to be able to actually use the donning armor in this situation with Tensor's transformation. They know that they're not going to be able to wear the heavy armor in time.
Well, yeah,
Why
because
include it at all then?
well, because most wizards, unless I guess there's probably feats that allow it, if you're wearing the armor already, you can't cast the spells in it, right?
Oh god, I don't remember. I think things have advantage on weapon attack rolls against you if you're wearing armor you're not proficient with. Let me Google this. What happens when you're wearing armor you're not proficient? What happens with
No, I'm talking about
armor?
as a wizard to cast spells with somatic components. Don't you need to be like loosey goosey?
You have disadvantage on ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls that involve strength or dex, and you can't cast spells. Yep, you
Can't
cannot
cast
cast
spells, yeah.
spells. Which means you can't cast, if you already have the armor on, you can't cast the spell to give you the proficiency.
Exactly. So you have to cast the spell first and start putting armor on.
Oh my god, how long does it take to don heavy armor? Do you know off the top of your head?
No.
Let's see if the internet does.
I wonder-
10 minutes!
10 minutes. All right. Yeah, that's the entire duration of the spell. If you manage to not get hit while you're
It takes
putting on
5
your
minutes to
armor.
get it off. Oh my god. Like even
Uh.
medium armor takes 5 minutes. No. Okay. This at best, at its best, and this is likely the case, is just lazy design. That is what I think this spell is at its best. At its worst, it's actively hostile and toxic to new players, and is not going to be cast on anyone else. Don't use this spell. Don't put it on your character sheets. Don't have it at the table. 99% of us, if you're here watching this video, you probably don't need to hear this, but this spell's probably not going to work on your character. You probably don't care about it at all. You're just like, is the spell good on anyone? And the answer is no. The answer is it is not worth it because you've got better things to be doing with your spell slots. And that leaves the other people that are going to stumble into it and be like, maybe it's fine, and it's not.
Dare I ask for a rating?
Give it a 1. Give it
I'm
a
not
1.
going to give it a 1. No, I'm not going to give it a 1. I'm going to give
It's
it
a
a
1.
2. I'm giving it a 2. I think, yeah, you're probably never going to want to cast this, but maybe someday, I don't know, your dog just died or something. You're mad at the world. You want
I
your
don't want to play a
wizard.
wizard right now.
Yeah,
Hence his
I just want to
transformation.
beat something with a rock, and yeah. So
I'd like you to consider that there's gonna be a real time when someone goes, oh, I'm not gonna tell my DM I'm getting this cool thing, but I'm just gonna be like, hey, can we spend some extra money on some heavy armor for me? And they're gonna be like, yeah, sure. And I'll pick up a greatsword and a shield while you're at it. And like, are you planning this character to die or something? And they're gonna be like, aha, I cast Tensor's transformation and put on my heavy armor. And the DM goes, how long does that take? And they go, I don't know, I didn't read those rules. And then everyone is sad that you blew $1,000 on heavy armor you can't wear.
ah, fun times. All right. Well, that was Tensor's transformation. Thank you, Sam. And commenters, please tell us if we are wrong or what mistakes we made, why this is an amazingly awesome spell. But yeah, until then, we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.